Today I have a really fantastic dish and it's called coconut bean soup. Now, before you all start going, not sure about that, well, I've got a story to tell you in a minute that might just change your mind. Yes, I did manage to feed it to quite a few young children who was maybe just as fussy as you are, but this really is a great African dish and, as I say, full of health, so let's have a try. So first of all, I'm going to pop my stove on and I'm going to put about a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. And into that, I've got a very large onion chopped. If you've not got a large one, 2 small ones or a medium and a small, I'm sure you know how to balance it out by now. So in that goes. And also, I've got 1 red pepper, which I've just roughly chopped up, and that is going to go in there as well. All right, make sure I get it all in. And I'm just going to stir that round for about roughly 5 minutes. All I want to do is just to soften those vegetables. So as I said, story to tell, no surprise then. I get asked to do a lot of cookery demonstrations. And some of my favourite ones has to be children. They never cease to end their amusement with me. They're quite funny with what they come out with sometimes. And their school teacher said to me, Emily, do you think you could do a cookery demonstration and come and teach the children about some African cookery? Now, I'm not an African cook, but there's obviously some dishes that I do quite like, and this was one of them. So I got all the children lined up. They were all sat there cross-legged, and they were just looking at some of the ingredients like peppers and onions, and all you could hear as they were sat down crossing their arms was, I don't like that. Oh, I don't like vegetables. And it's then that your heart sinks because you think, oh my goodness, I have got to spend ages with these children talking about this food, and I've got to convince them at the end to eat it all. Oh no. But they were really fantastic kids. And there was one little boy there, and he all of a sudden started to fill up with tears in his little eyes. And I got down, bent down to him, and I said, oh, what's the matter, sweetheart? What is it that you don't like? And he says, I don't really like vegetables. And he was really frightened. So I have this thing with children that you can either force feed them things or you can actually give them the chance to explore food. And so I got him alongside cooking with me, and they were all actually in the class there helping me stir and, helping out and helping putting the ingredients in. And this little boy, he was still not sure, so we had a deal. I had some of the ingredients left over, and I said, I tell you what, me and you are going to strike a deal. I will let you have a try of the foods, and if you don't like them, you can literally just empty your mouth into a piece of tissue. Yeah. And do you know something? He tried 2 or 3 different things, and yeah, he wasn't quite keen on a couple of them, but he actually found he loved red peppers. And I think it's that way you've got to be like with children. You've got to let them do the exploring. You've got to let them get involved. And you've got to let them feel part of it and not actually force feed them. Because that actually, I think, can do more harm than good, to be honest. So, to cut a long story short, we cooked this soup. And to my absolute surprise, they were coming up and asking for more out of the little bowls that I gave them, and there was not one scrap of this soup left. So, if those children can actually try this and help me make it, then I'm sure you lot can too. So we're just getting those vegetables here sweated down nicely, and now we're going to add a couple of the other ingredients. I've got 1 green chilli. Now, the reason I'm only using 1 green chilli is because somebody in the crew here doesn't like over-spicy food. I know. I'm a little bit of a chilli freak, so I quite like my food quite hot. So I've just done 1 green chilli. Now, the important thing to remember is if you don't like it spicy, de-seed it. So take the seeds out and just use the chilli. Or if you're a bit like me and you like it hot, then you can add the seeds or add an extra chilli. The choice is yours. You can work out what heat you like. Just getting that stirred around there. Now we're going to add some curry powder. Around about 2 teaspoons of this. So, in that goes. And what this does is by heating it in the oil, is it's again starting to release all those wonderful things that are in your curry powder, all those wonderful spices. It will make the bottom of your pan look a bit atrocious for a moment or two, but no panic. And then we need to add some tomatoes. Now I've used fresh tomatoes and I would strongly recommend you use fresh tomatoes. I've got about 8 tomatoes here, roughly chopped. If they're slightly bigger tomatoes, use 6. But in that goes. I find that this is a fabulous way to also use up like tomatoes in summer. I don't know whether you've got a granddad like I have. Oh, I do love him. But he grows so many tomatoes, and then he actually is trying to get rid of them, and he'll put a little stall outside his road where he lives and tries to get rid of them that way. But he knows I love my tomatoes, and I can always find something to do with them, whether it's making chutneys, tomato curry, you name it, or just in salads. This is a great way of using them up. So that's all softening nicely. Now we're going to add a couple of the other ingredients. Let's have a look. A can of kidney beans. I've just drained them so I can stick them in. And have a mix around. And you see the colours. Oh, it's just like Africa, vibrant and beautiful. And then I've got here 100 grams of browned rice that's already been cooked. I like brown rice. I like all the nutrients and I like the nutty flavour. So it's 100 grams of already cooked brown rice. And in that will go. Again, mix around. Getting those arms going today, aren't we? I think this is what the kids loved about it. They really felt as if they were making something and getting involved. Then going to add, I do love this. This is another one of Emily's favourite ingredients. It's got to be coconut milk. So we've got a whole can going in there. It's about a 400 gram can. Again, mix it round. The flavours, the smell of the coconut. Oh, this is good, this is good. And then we're going to add about 800 mils of boiling water. In that goes. Now we're just going to stir that round. And because we're using water and not stock, what we're going to do is we're just going to add a tiny bit, well actually quite a lot of pepper, but a little bit of salt. Because you can always add more salt if you keep taste testing it. The trouble is when you add a little bit too much, then it's hard to get rid of it. A bit more pepper. And then what you're going to do is literally just simmer this off for around about 5 to 7 minutes. You're just looking for those vegetables to continue getting nice and soft. Well, that's all simmered away nicely now for about another 5 to 6 minutes. So you can see it's quite a quick soup, quite a quick dish to put together. Now, as I said, one of my crew members doesn't like things too hot and spicy, so I've already put a bowl out for him, bless. But what I did do is I added a little bit more salt because of flavouring. This is what you've got to do. You've got to go along and taste your dish. Just make sure you've got plenty of clean spoons for hygiene. Now, here's another little Emily tip. If you are a little bit afraid of chilies and heat and how much you want to put in, then get some chilli powder. I've always got some at the ready. And all I do is just seem to add just a weeny bit, just if you want to spice it up a bit more. The crew member over there, who's remaining nameless, has already got his bowl out. So I won't be scolding him today or giving him anything over spicy. But just literally just add a tiny bit by bit, and then you can build up the strength and intensity of the heat. Now I'm just going to give this a test now, see if I'm happy with it. That's much better. That's how I like it. Just a little bit more fire in there. So now all we're going to do is take it off the heat and serve.